Hello everyone. Older games seem to be more on point. Newer games seem to copy what other games are doing. They want to be just as successful. I'm thinking this because I remember a lot of older games that I really liked. Um, Blaster Master, Vampire the Masquerade Redemption, the original Heavy Gear, um, all these games were really fun to play. When I look at the newer games, it's very hard to find one that is just as good as the older games. This includes many different categories. Um, I guess we can start with RPGs for an example. You will find me referencing Vampire the Masquerade Redemption a lot. This is because I think Redemption had a really good storyline. Um, the storyline was in depth, and I thought it was well written out. When you compare VTMR to, let's just say, Mass Effect, which is a somewhat newer game in comparison, you notice a huge difference in storyline. Mass Effect had a very broken up storyline that started in one, chapter, went to another chapter, but went back another chapter, and it was just a mess. When I look at an RPG storyline, I look for how in depth it is, how strong it is, and how well put together it is. When you have something that broken up, I don't even see that as an RPG anymore. It's just like you keep going forwards and backwards so many times that it's just like, where is the logic in this story? And that's kind of where I'm getting at with this. As for other games like shooters, well, there was a Alien game, I can't remember its name right now, where it was just literally a top-down, third-person, like shoot the waves of aliens type thing. There's really no point to it other than that. There was no story, nothing. It was just shoot as many waves as aliens as you can. And that was actually fun. It had a very arcade element to it, and it provided a lot of entertainment. Compare that to um, some of the newer shooters. They are all going to be first person for the most part. These first person shooters are uh, very in depth and require a lot of strategy or focus to play them. I guess where I'm getting at is just, the shooters of today are not as relaxing as what they were, back then. Back then it was just like, if you had a 12-hour shift at work and you're tired, great, we've got a simple game for you. It's called Alien Shooter. Just blast as many aliens as you can until you pass out. I mean, that's just literally the way it was, you know. The final thing I'll bring up in regards to this old and new thing is I will say that beyond the games, one thing that has bothered me is the changing community. Back in the older days of MMOs and other games, um, the community was very, very tight knit. I remember my first lesson with this during EverQuest 1. If you got married or ended up getting engaged, had a girlfriend, any of that, it was big news in the community. People cared about each other. They thought it was the greatest thing that, one of their raid buddies is, moving on and getting a partner in life. And nowadays, the community is not really that tight knit. I mean, sure, you have smaller groups, but not on, EverQuest 1 levels, where it was an entire game community. No, no, they don't have that anymore. So there's a lot of things that I miss, and that's a few examples. That's all I have. Thanks for listening.